Same
dog
here.
argument, like mine.
Like reality is happening back there.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I feel like on our Zoom calls for work, it's the same thing. Our producer has a 3-month-old, and then Mike has a 3-year-old, and then Andrea has like 2 dogs.
2 dogs.
So.
Yeah. And they have a lot of opinions, so.
Canine political commentary.
Yeah, basically.
I have one that I have a very small bedroom, and the little Mindy, she's a year-old Maltipoo, and she'll poke me on the shoulder and she'll want me to throw her bone because she just loves fetch. And it's just constant all day long. I keep getting this nudge in my left shoulder. It's like, ah.
And you guys both start school on Monday, correct?
We start Wednesday, the 19th.
Wednesday. Okay, gotcha.
Madison City started today and we start Monday.
Yeah. It's hard with everyone's changing schedules to keep up with it, honestly.
I posted in a couple of rooms that we were having this, like what's happening in Decatur, what's happening in Huntsville. I hope I don't get thrown out. Telling people to come here, watch us.
I know Mo did that with our last town hall in a few groups, and they actually appreciated it. So
yeah, we're not selling anything. We're just, trying to get people information. So y'all have fun, ladies. I hope Mike gets on quickly.
yeah, I was gonna say I think we're probably just about going live now, but we'll start when Mike gets on.
Yeah.
We see you, Mike.
See me.
Yes, and I think we can all hear you too.
All righty, here I am. Hello, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
So I believe we are good to start. I'm pretty positive. So are you all set, Mike? I know you have a quick transition.
No, I'm all set, ready to go.
Okay. And we all talked about earlier, if you want to give some extra input, just raise your hand when someone else is talking and we'll go to you after. We'll take live questions from Facebook and they'll come up in the chat, and then Mike and I will ask them to you guys so we can get some live viewer questions as well. So we just want to thank you all for taking part in our WZDX Back to School virtual town hall. And we want to thank everyone else for watching tonight. I'm Connor Board.
And I'm Mike Black. Nothing normal about the start to the new school year, but we are guessing that many parents have a lot of questions. So here to help answer those questions, Dr. Rachel Ballard, the Director of Equity and Innovation for the Madison County School System. We also have Elisa Farrell, who is the School Board President for Huntsville City Schools.
And we also have Kendra Tatum, a licensed professional counselor from Wellstone Behavioral Health, which does counseling and therapy for students in Madison County and Huntsville. So we're going to start with our first question. It's pretty general. This one's going to be for Dr. Ballard. Can you tell us how preparations are going for Madison County? What are teachers doing to prepare, or what special protocols are there?
Well, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share this evening. Well, Madison County school teachers are preparing for this upcoming school year. We're so excited to announce that we have 133 new teachers, 280 substitutes, and a record number of bus drivers. And so we have our teachers return August 5th, and they are preparing to receive our students. They've received additional training in order to make sure that they feel confident and are highly qualified to teach online. And just today, I looked at our professional development calendar. We had over 20 professional development opportunities for our teachers throughout the course of the day across the system. So our teachers are gearing up. Also, we have special protocols in place to ensure that our facilities are clean and sanitized. Teachers will be teaching from their classrooms. And so our facilities team, our maintenance team, they are working exceptionally hard to ensure that things are sanitized and disinfected and cleaned properly. So we are looking forward to August 19th when our students return. Our faculty, they're going through rigorous training, but they will be prepared to receive our students next week.
Okay, and Elisa, the same question for you.
Yes, we start Monday, August 17th, and our students are required to do 180 days in classroom, and teachers by state law are required to do 187. Those 7 days are professional development days. So our teachers came back last Friday, and they've been spending that time in professional development and preparing their classroom. We have safety protocols in place when anyone enters the building. We have a touchless thermometer that takes their temperature, and a list of questions that we ask about any exposure to anyone with COVID and whether or not they have any specific symptoms that might be problematic. And after they go through those questions, they'll go to their classroom or to their professional development and begin the day's work. So they're working fervently to get ready for Monday, and it's always a crunch time the week before school starts, but this year it's more of a crunch for them this year.
Kendra Tatum, I want to turn things over to you now. Wellstone, are they preparing any differently for this school year than in other years? And a follow-up question to that, will in-person therapy still be available?
Yes, this year is looking different for us at Wellstone, but we're adjusting to the changes as they come. Due to COVID-19, we've had to change some things as far as our mediums for therapy. Clients or client parents can still schedule clients for in-office appointments, but we're also offering telecommunication. So phone therapy through phone or through video through our secure and HIPAA compliant system. So parents can continue to refer or to inquire about services for their child. And if they're already an established client, rest assured they are going to continue to be seen.
And Dr. Ballard, we've heard reports from other states of not allowing students to wear pajamas while taking virtual classes. A little hard to believe, but is there a dress code for virtual classes here?
Well, we know that students will be working from the comfort of their own home at times. And so if they're working on an assignment that they can't see other students or their teachers, they can dress comfortably. However, when there are video conferences or sessions with teachers and other classmates, they must follow the Madison County dress code standards. And those standards are found on our website.
And Elisa, what about for Huntsville City Schools?
It is very similar. Our dress code can be found in our behavior learning guide, and I believe it's page 18 in the secondary section. For our older students, we don't want our young men showing up shirtless or in t-shirts and boxers or anything like that, or any t-shirts with obscene language on it or anything like that. Same thing with our young ladies. We want them to be dressed appropriately. And that includes making sure that there are no pajamas on there, because page 18 says no pajamas. Our younger students, pre-K, kindergarten, our younger kids, things are a little different there. They need structure and consistency. Every parent that has ever had to adhere to a nap time, a rigid nap time, knows that when you mess up that structure, things can go south pretty quickly. So these younger students need to be getting up on time, having breakfast, brushing hair, brushing teeth, and getting dressed for school. It's part of learning responsibility and self-awareness and good hygiene and things like that. If we've got a young student sitting in a t-shirt or a polo shirt and he happens to have Spider-Man pajamas on, we're not going to ask him to self-report what his PJs are. They're not doing that in the Fortune 500 companies, and we're not going to do that either. But we want to make sure everyone is there and that they're serious about their learning, and that includes how they present themselves.
And another question for you, Elisa, with virtual learning, and we've covered this a little bit on the news, but what are the different options for students who don't have access to internet or Wi-Fi or those devices?
So we have loaned out all of our MiFi devices to students that are in need of Wi-Fi. We have 62 buses that have Wi-Fi on board that will be deployed across the city. Earlier when we left in March, AdTran and Huntsville Utilities stepped up and they helped us put large meshes of Wi-Fi around our buildings so students could come to the parking lot and sign into our system. Meanwhile, we're looking to find Wi-Fi for anybody else that is still not covered. And the state has a site. The state of Alabama is working on broadband coverage for everyone. It's called Alabama, the website is abcstudents.org, I believe it is. And that stands for Alabama Broadband for the students. So they can go there to see what the update is for the state. Meanwhile, we are negotiating with low-cost internet providers to help. Students can also, families can go on to everyoneon.org and enter their information, and it will tell them the available low-cost internet in their area. And some of it is as low as a little less than $10 a month. So we're looking to help families, but we also want to point them to resources until the state has something in place.
And then also same question to you, Dr. Ballard.
Yeah, so Madison County Schools is doing something very similar. Students have devices, or if they still need a device, they can contact their school for that, to receive that, as well as MiFi. In the spring, we received a very generous donation from Facebook, which allowed us to place internet or Wi-Fi on 90 of our school buses. And so they will be dispersed across the county in different locations for students who may need internet connection. They can go to those specific sites, as well as our school buildings, our high school buildings have internet on the Wi-Fi connectivity on the outside of the buildings. So we are working diligently to ensure that every child has access to a device as well as to the internet.
And this school year is definitely going to look different, especially virtually. Elisa, can you give us some insight as to how a typical teacher's day will be? Will they be doing virtual classes from their classrooms?
You're muted, Elisa.
I'm sorry.
They
will be doing it from their classrooms, but they'll also be doing it from their homes. So in order for us to provide extra precautions for social distancing, in our elementary schools, we'll have half of the grades show up one day and half of the grades show up the next. So we'll have a group that goes Monday, Wednesday, and another group that goes Tuesday, Thursday. The principal can flex people in and out on Fridays based on needs. but then we'll also have a less full building on Friday and Saturday to make sure we can sanitize it thoroughly. So they will have classroom time, but then they will also have home time. They can do live lessons, they can record lessons. All the lessons will be posted, recorded. So if a student needs to refresh, they can go back. So in this sense, they'll be having more resources than they normally would.
And Dr. Ballard, parent-teacher conferences still have to take place. How will they be handled? Will they look a lot different?
Well, our parent-teacher conferences are taking place right now virtually or by telephone for those who prefer that method, and it will continue that way. And then when it's deemed safe for parents to meet with teachers at the school or one-on-one, they will be notified of that change.
And I do have a follow-up question to that. What happens if a student isn't showing up for virtual school? You just have to get a hold of the parent. And what happens if you can't get a hold of the parent?
Yeah, so we have a wonderful team of our teachers who will be actively engaged with students, and they're unable to connect with the student. We have our counselors and social workers who will also be engaged. And if there is ever a point where there's a concern where someone needs to knock on a door just to physically see a child to ensure that they're safe, we have the team ready and able to do that.
Thank you. And Elisa, a big question is, how are you handling school lunches, especially for the students who are on the free or reduced price lunch program?
So we have a couple of different situations going on in Huntsville City Schools. If you go to the directory and click on Child Nutrition Program, first of all, if you were on free and reduced last year, you were on free and reduced this year for the first 20 days. And if you go to that website, there's an online application to continue that service through the remainder of this school year. If you scroll down further, there is something called community enrollment plans. Some of our schools have high enough free and reduced lunch numbers that we qualify the entire school. We have 29 schools where the entire school is eligible for free and reduced lunch. So they will go to their home school, they will go through a drive-through and pick up what we call grab and go. It's a Ziploc bag with juice and fruit and a sandwich and crackers and things like that. They can pick up lunch and breakfast at the same time at their home school. So we will be continuing to take care of our free and reduced lunch students.
Okay, and Dr. Ballard, what about Madison County?
So Madison County is the same. If students, the same process as Huntsville City, if students qualify for free or reduced meals, they will continue that. They can also visit our website. If parents have not completed the current free and reduced meals form, please do so, so that you can continue in that format. And so we are ready to serve at all of our schools. Each school has specific times that they have already communicated to families when they can come through the drive-through for pickup.
And Kendra, how do we talk to our kids about all the changes that are going on this year, both in ways that they can understand and handle?
Absolutely. It's going to depend on the age of the child. Of course, for our younger kids, we kind of have to keep things in an age appropriate level as far as what we're explaining. But for parents, teachers, administrators, it's best to be honest about what's going on. The severity of it, you don't want to scare a child. You don't want them to be anxious. However, you do want them to be aware. And then being honest helps them to be more self-aware of the things that they're engaging in as far as cleanliness, washing hands, keeping their mask on. But basically have open conversations with the children about what's going on and what steps are being taken to keep them safe.
And Kendra, speaking of masks, when it comes to our kids, you know, some of them, I should say most of them, they don't like them. And whether it's because they find them irritating to wear or because they look threatening on other people's faces. How as parents do you handle that in explaining to your kids why they're doing this?
Yes, that's a great question. Again, I would explain the purpose of wearing the mask, why we're being required to wear them, what it helps to fight against. And for especially younger children, make it fun. Get them a mask with fun shapes, their favorite cartoon characters or images. Play games with them with the mask. Have them practice wearing it at home to practice being in a public setting. And also, you can also make it an incentive-based thing for children. So if you can wear your mask the entire time while we're in Walmart, then you'll get extra time on the TV or something of that nature. And in addition to that, you can educate children through kid-friendly and appropriate online videos. YouTube has some good resources that are specifically targeted towards kids to get them to understand the use of masks and why we have to wear masks at this time.
All right, and Dr. Ballard, what are some tips you have to help kids learn online, or tips you have for parents to help their children learn online?
Well, there are a few things that parents can do. I'm also a parent of 3 boys, and so I'm applying these same tips as well. I'm just making sure that we create a designated learning workspace, that the children know that this is where you're going to work and that it's clean and organized. To develop a schedule. Some of our students have been maybe sleeping in a little later. I know my children have, and been playing with Roblox and Fortnite and all the games, and we're getting back into a routine where we're back on that school schedule, even though we're virtual, to become familiar with the online learning platform. And so before school starts, we would just encourage everyone to become familiar with those platforms. And please know that our teachers, they're going to be patient with the families and our students as we're all learning this together. And just to continue to encourage your children to communicate with their teachers. Teachers are available. They want to hear from your children. And so just encourage them to do that. We're all going to continue to be patient in the process, and it's okay to take breaks when needed.
Okay, thank you. That's some good tips. And Elisa, are there concerns about how effective virtual learning will be for students who may have already been struggling in school?
Of course there are. We want to make sure that all our students succeed and reach their potential. And as a result, we keep track of what's going on. We have taken our program iNow, the state has, which was a learning management system for our students, or actually it keeps their grades and their schedules and their attendance and things like that. And that has been bought out by another company called Power Schools. And Power Schools has a dashboard where a teacher can see, I taught this particular standard and everyone in the class got it, or everybody but 2. Well, she needs to work with those 2, but if it's vice versa, 2 got it, but everybody else didn't, then they go back and they reteach it again in a different manner in order to help the kids. So they will be able to identify students who are struggling in a specific area and have one-on-one teleconferences with them, or have small group studies, and it will give them an opportunity to drill down even farther to help those students. We saw that happening last school year, at the end of March, where some of our seniors weren't quite finishing everything they needed to finish in order to graduate. And we were able to identify those, and we will probably have some of our highest graduation rates come out of this year because there was so much intensive one-on-one instruction at that time.
I was going to say, you kind of answered a follow-up question I was going to ask. So many students I've talked to say the one-on-one learning is how things really click sometimes. So there still will be opportunities for that.
Yes, our teachers will send home schedules to their students and to their students' parents that outline what that class day is going to look like. If they're in high school, it's going to be more of a syllabus, and they will have virtual office hours, things like that. And the families will know when everything is supposed to be happening during the day. And as I said earlier, the teachers will be recording the live lessons and uploading them as well. So that will be an additional help. But they are dedicated to the children. They chose this profession because they love what they do and they want to make a difference in a child's life. So they always go the extra mile for our kids.
And Elisa, I actually want to stick with you. All these changes can be very overwhelming for anyone, let alone young students. So if someone does have a child who is struggling with all these changes, is there a protocol that their parents should follow?
They should call the school if they feel like their student is struggling. They should speak with the principal or the counselors, depending on the age of the child. Our elementary schools do have counselors, but not as many as our high schools do. So they should reach out to the school. Truthfully, first, I would like them to reach out to the teacher and then go up the line to help their child. Let us know if there's a problem. We want to solve it right away. So absolutely reach out to the school.
Absolutely. And Dr. Ballard, same question. What's the protocol for your school system?
Yeah, so we recognize that there may be students who need additional support, or they may feel a little anxious. Same, we want the students to reach out, or their parents to reach out to the teachers. the school counselor. There is a team of who will support students during this time. And so that's what we're here for, to support. We don't want any child or parent to feel as if they're in this alone. They're not. We're here for you. So it is the same process.
And Kendra, in your case, should parents reach out to Wellstone directly, or should the concerns go through the school first?
So if there's someone who's directly a student, they're a student in the school, we have partnerships, Wellstone does, is very proud to have partnerships with Huntsville City and Madison County school systems. So they're able to help us identify students who may be in need, who may need or benefit from therapy. However, parents can elect to contact the Nova Center directly at 256-705-6493 if they feel like they would want services, therapy services for their child.
And also a follow-up for you, what are things parents should be looking out for in their kids maybe that could be red flags that they should seek therapy or counseling?
Yes, an increase in irritability is a big one. Isolation, withdrawal, loss of interest in normal activities that they usually have interest in, maybe less engagement with friends or family. These are all warning signs that you want to pay attention to. Also, since school is beginning to start again, take a look at how they're engaging academically. Are they completing their assignments? Are they waiting to the last minute to complete things? Are they just avoiding tasks? These are all things that you want to look for and to identify, maybe my child may need some help.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Ballard, how will students who receive special education be handled?
Sure. So our special education team has been working very diligently, and we recognize that there may be some services that do require students to have face-to-face interactions. And so on our website, you will find our special education service update plan, and students who need to come into school for those services, that will be determined by their individualized education plan team, their IEP team.
And Elisa, same question for you.
We have a lot of different things going on with special education. Right now, we have our teachers reaching out and our coordinators reaching out to parents to create an individualized digital learning plan for each child. It will be digital. However, we do have resources at the Apollo Academy for things like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. And if a student needs to go to Apollo for that, we are working on transportation for them as well to make sure they can get there. But we will do teletherapy online as well. We're going to use every resource we have in our toolkit to help students and to meet their individual needs.
Well, the day is going to come where students actually go back to school after all this virtual learning. And I want to take a look into the future, so to speak, to talk about that. I'm going to start with Elisa. How do you handle social distancing with both school buses and in the classroom?
Right. Well, our teachers have actually, our principals, I'm sorry, have gone in and measured the classrooms to see how much size there is and how many students you can fit in. When we go back, we're probably not going to go back 5 days a week. We're probably going to go staggered, just like we're doing with the teachers right now, half and half. Our school buses, we have 152 plus an extra 25 to 30 that we can use if we need to expand bus routes. We will have students who live in the same household, sibling sets. They can sit together, but other students will have to sit in different seats, and we'll space them appropriately. And after our numbers drop even farther, then we'll start to move to 5 day a week.
And Dr. Ballard, I know for young students, their favorite subject in school is lunch. Will they be able to eat lunch in the cafeteria, or will they need to stay in their respective classrooms?
Well, lunch is also one of my favorite times of the day as well. So in regards to the cafeteria, we are working, we look diligently and consult with the CDC and the Alabama Department of Public Health, and we kind of follow those guidelines there. So when that time comes, it will be because of the advisement that we have received. And so until then, some of our students, when we return, may have to eat lunch in the classroom. But we will move according to safety measures. So if it is safe for us to reconvene in the cafeteria, which I'm sure many of students can't wait for to see their friends, we will do that, but it will be according to appropriate safety measures.
Very good.
And Elisa, how will activities like PE or library time be handled while virtual?
I can't tell you for library time because I'm not 100% sure. I know in the past the teachers, those librarians would read online. Some of those things are copyrighted, so we have to make sure that we're good stewards and that we don't violate copyright laws. But there will be interaction with librarians during virtual time. PE, if you look for, her name is Michael Massey. She's the PE teacher at Whitesburg P8, or actually it's elementary school on one side, middle school on the other. She has put her PE lessons online, and even as adults, you get a workout doing Miss Massey's exercises. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to engage students to get up from their chairs and have a little exercise and a little activity, and then get back to work again, because it will make them better.
And Dr. Ballard, same question to you, library and PE.
Well, it's important that our students move and remain active. And so PE classes will be offered even if it's virtual. And so they will have some opportunities to participate in some activities and exercises at home. And in the same with the library, our librarians will provide some resources for our students to be able to access during this time. But we want to encourage our students to be active and to move, and to also to read. Reading is fundamental to everything we do, and so our librarians will support that process.
And Kendra, on that topic, we do a lot of stories about how screen time can have negative effects on children. So, how important is it for their physical and mental health to make sure your kids are maybe going outside for a little bit during the school day or after school?
Yes, earlier we were talking about dealing with the changes emotionally. It may cause some anxiety. Doing positive things such as just taking a walk around the neighborhood would be something to get the kids active and involved. It can also serve as family time, as long as you're maintaining the appropriate social distance from others. But doing things outside of playing video games, just being online or watching videos or TV, family time, get up and move, take opportunities to get outside of your home. I know the kids have been in the home for several months now, and they're probably feeling a little stir crazy. So they need that activity. They need to engage in PE. They need to engage in active activities throughout their day.
Definitely some good advice. I guess you could even do some of those PE activities as a family, like Lisa said. And Elisa, going back to you, things like choir and band, how will that be done virtually? And then how will that be done once they go back to school?
So with band is also an extracurricular activity. And right now we have time after school for extracurriculars to meet. So from the photos I've seen, we've had sections like the trombone section or the percussion section meet at the same time, and they spread apart in the band room and they learn their piece of music. So that is already happening. The same type of thing will be happening in other extracurriculars like choir and theater. Some of the theater things might be happening online as well.
And how is that being handled in Madison County, Dr. Ballard?
The same as well. As activities open up for students to begin to participate in activities, we will still follow appropriate social distancing as much as possible. And we will make sure our ultimate goal is for students to remain safe. And so, but as activities open up, they will have to follow the appropriate protocol based upon the activity.
And Kendra, some quick tips as parents. What do you do helping your kids through this? Do you lie to them if they're young enough and mask the problem, so to speak? Do you tell them the truth about it? How do you get them through this strange and unpredictable time that we're in?
I am a huge advocate for being honest with children, age appropriately so. Even if they're young, explain to them that we have a virus going around. It is contagious, and we're doing the best that we can to maintain our safety in our family, in our homes. And of course, your school is doing the same as well. So school is going to look a little differently, at least for the first 9 weeks. This is going to be our plan. As much as you can control through planning, having a daily routine and nightly routine, that will help children to understand and to feel more relaxed. And some things may be uncertain. However, I will have this routine that I'm going to follow each day. I know what's going to come next in my home each day. So continue to have consistency with routines and plans And also, this is a perfect time to engage in positive coping skills, positive coping strategies, such as mindfulness techniques, deep breathing strategies, yoga, reading, journaling. This is a perfect time to practice those activities, both the kids on themselves, by themselves, and also family engagement.
And we actually got through these questions a little quicker than we anticipated. But before we wrap up, we want to give you guys the opportunity to say anything that maybe we didn't ask or that you want people in your districts to know. So does anyone have any final thoughts to add?
I would like to add that we have good neighbors in Madison County. All three school systems get along very well. The superintendents are professional colleagues and they talk to each other frequently. The same with the school board and the same with our staff, that it's a community, it's not a competition. We all work together, and Huntsville City Schools has started a program called MUSE, Municipalities United for the Support of Education. And we've teamed with the three school systems, the two hospitals, the mayors in both city, county commission, and we're looking for the steps necessary for us to get back into the classroom and how that's going to happen. So everything we do is done in partnership and done with the focus on the safety of the children and on the safety of the staff. So I am pleased to say there are no enemies in Madison County. We're all cooperative and we all want the same goal, and that's for all the children here to be safe and well educated.
Yeah, and Elisa, I mean, you're speaking about that. Obviously, both of your districts in Madison City all made the decision together to do the first 9 weeks virtual. Do you know when you guys will, I guess, reconvene to decide what happens after that 9 weeks?
Well, not all of us are 9 weeks. Madison City hasn't committed to how long that they will stay out, but we are all talking together about when a good time would be to transition back in. We look at the Alabama Department of Public Health website daily. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they take a tranche of 6 days, average those numbers, and that's how they base whether or not we're high risk, very high risk, moderate, or low risk. So we're looking at that all the time and seeing where we're going. And the more downward trajectory we have in new cases, the faster we will get back to the classroom. And in order to do that, the biggest gains have been found when our entire county masked up, practiced social distancing, washed their hands, used hand sanitizer, and just used good common sense whenever they leave their house. So the more that happens, the faster we will return to normalcy. So yeah, we're headed that way. We're headed that way.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Any other final thoughts?
I just want to say we are a strong community. And the past few months, we have seen the resilience that exists in our community. And so together, as educators and as parents, as community members, we have rallied around our students. We are rallying around our students to ensure they have a great year. Even though the year may be different, they're going to have a great year. And we're doing all that we can to ensure that that is possible.
And for myself and Wellstone, we are all about serving clients and client families. If we're seeing a young child and their parent identifies they are also in need of maybe talking to someone, we do also offer adult services. We also want to point out that social interaction during this time is very important. We have to stay socially distanced. However, parents finding creative ways for their child to maintain social interaction with their friends, with family, maybe virtual meetings, virtual play dates, so to speak, would be great for your child's social interaction and overall just how they manage COVID-19 during this time. And finally, I just wanted to add that if parents are concerned about the cost of services are minimal through insurance coverage and grant funding and our partnership with Huntsville Hospital, the Huntsville Hospital grant. So we are proud to say that if you need services, please reach out to us directly, or you can contact us also through your school and school counselors.
Okay, well, again, we just want to thank all three of you for coming on here. We really appreciate it. And that was a lot of good input, I think, for a lot of people out there. And of course, if anyone ever wants to rewatch this, it will be in full on our website on rocketcitynow.com.
Ladies, thank you three for your time and all you do. And for those who are watching, keep sending in your questions because we will get them answered. Have a great evening and Join us tonight on WZDX News at 9.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thanks,
the
everyone.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Ladies, see you later.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.